you have 4 key conviction calls for the next 12 months, and I think very important that we get into this. Short European banks, short oil, short Chinese renminbi, short S&P. That's a big flag to stick in the ground. Just walk us through these trades very quickly.
Well, it is a very, it is the January type of market, if you want, like the one in which, some of these have really taken place, actually all of them. And I think that the January type of market is going to represent itself within this year and next.
How soon? Because I know some technical analysts are saying we're already setting up for a repeat of the January rollover that we saw. You think it comes as early as the next few weeks, or?
No, maybe not. I mean, we have given ourselves time until September to see if we are right or wrong, okay. And we clearly don't pile up on shorts like there is no tomorrow, because it might take a long time. It's very difficult to short markets whenever the central bank is printing with a reckless abandon, if you want. So, last quarter China printed, or total social financing increased by $1 trillion. In just one quarter. So they went back to the bad habits of fixed investment in order to engineer a high level of GDP. So they may be able to buy more time, and that is going to be very easy. But in the end of the day, in China, actually, for example, just to take it as an example, whenever we see big GDP number, it may be actually a bad news, because it means that they've done too much of fixed investment, too much of money lending, and that is not going to be sustainable under any metric. And with oil, there is a lot of expectations building up on the price of oil these days. It is similar to the beginning of 2015. Back then, the price of oil went from 40 to 60 roughly, went up more than 50%. It lasted until July, and then eventually, after 2 months of toppish behavior, the oil price went down 60% after that. At the time, the expectations were misplaced on the oil rig account, which they said, that the market said, if the oil rig count is going down, the number of wells is going down, it means that production will go down and the market will rebalance. That expectation was misplaced, because there was a big increase in production, in productivity, by fourfold on oil rigs. And we think the same is going to happen today. We think that both on the supply and on the demand side, the stage will be set such that the oil price will possibly go to revisit lows.
I think the most interesting development today with regard to China is their One Belt, One Road policy, which is effectively about building almost new special economic zones outside the country. So they build infrastructure, bridges, roads, railway links, all the way into Western Europe. And with the intention that that's how they begin to generate the GDP, not from inside the country, but from outside the country. And I'd be interested in your view of how long will that take, and do you think it'll be successful?
Well, I think, look, I'm very positive about China long term. I think China is the future, and there is little doubt about that for many reasons, demographics, but also in general, because I think Asia is going to be the future, and China is at the center of it. But I think that at the moment the imbalances in terms of credit are just too big to ignore. Like if you look at the NPLs on their banking books are 30%. They are big also as a percentage of GDP, and a lot of it is extend and pretend over there. You cannot trust the numbers, but if the numbers are what they say they are going forward, I think a big number of GDP will equate to some bad news, because it means that they're just not reckoning with the fact that they've grown too much and they need to rein in credit excesses. So I think that in the short to medium term, there is going to have to be a rebalancing. That rebalancing, in my opinion, is inevitably going through the currency. The currency has got to let go with the dollars. Whenever that happens, the markets are going to be in a risk off, even if China is going to be fine.